This episode of the Accounting Insiders podcast is brought to you in part by Xero. Xero is a powerful cloud accounting software that improves efficiencies across your practice. With all client data stored on a single unified ledger, you and your clients can easily access and collaborate on the same set of books. Xero's advisor tools and automation solutions reduce time-consuming manual tasks and put data entry on autopilot. Work faster and more efficiently than ever before with Xero. Visit xero.com/accounting insiders to learn more. Hello, and welcome to another episode of the Accounting Insiders podcast. My name is Gary Dehart, and I am the publisher of Insightful Accountant and the host of the Accounting Insiders podcast. My guest, my fourth time guest, I can't remember what number this is, but about quarterly. I think we're close to a quarterly cadence here is Ben Richmond, who now, the last time we were here, or he was with me, he was the country manager US. Now he is the managing director North America. Is that did I get that right?
Yeah, that's the one. It's great to be working with Team Canada.
Yeah, for Xero. We didn't say that part, so we'll make sure we get that. So thanks for taking some time. Today is December the 18th, so we are winding down. My understanding is that y'all shut the doors for a couple of weeks here at the end of the year.
Yeah, we generally do. Not everyone. There's still quite a bit on. It certainly feels like we're winding up at the moment.
Right.
The slowdown doesn't seem to have happened yet, so it's full steam right up to the line.
Yeah, and then you're taking some time. So we're going to dive in. We've got a whole bunch of things we're going to talk about. But let's talk about, because I think when I initially had reached out to try to schedule this, you were not available because you were bringing a baby into the house. So give us an update on that.
Yeah, so we had a baby girl who's number 2, Florence, who's just gone over 3 months. So the sleep is slowly coming back, but it's probably been the highlight of the year. But yeah, it's definitely made the run to the holiday break very crazy, but we're super happy. So
yeah, that's super exciting. Well, congratulations. I know that and changes your day hour by hour, I'm sure. So
it does. Yeah.
So that's exciting. Sorry. So what we want to talk about is kind of maybe a quick year in review. If we can touch on, what's Xero done this year? How's it been? Has it been a good year? Has it been an okay year? Seems to be everything I've seen. It seems like it's been a very good year.
Yeah.
From Xero's perspective.
It's been a year with a lot of progress. So we started the year off with our Investor Day, where we sort of educated our customers, our investors on our new strategy, and really that was the launching of what we call the 3x3, which is 3 core focus markets: the US, Australia, and the UK, across 3 core workflows: core bookkeeping, payments, and payroll. And that's given the business real clarity and focus. And what's transpired from that is, I think, a lot of momentum for our customers. There's actually been an enormous amount. I think the highlight had to be Xerocon. We had partners from all across Canada, all across the US, and quite a few partners that came in from all across the world. And what was super exciting to see was just the volume of product announcements that we actually had, and a good mixture of the foundational basics that want to continue to see momentum in. Some people call them the boring basics, but as an accountant myself, some of those features are critical to getting to the fun stuff. A good amount of really critical local market needs. So a big one there was actually Xero launching that we're launching out the full bank reconciliation in the traditional way that US and Canadian accountants are used to reconciling the bank, being able to lock the period as well, so you can get that traditional bank rec. So that was super well received, and I think it had been a big gap and barrier for us in US market adoption. So we're super excited to announce that. We've had a lot of customers going through in the beta on that product, and then a lot of innovation. So I think we're super excited to see Jax, Just Ask Xero, get out of the gates. And Xero has AI across the platform, whether it's in our HubDoc tool, extracting data to get it into Xero. We launched a new bank statement extraction tool, which can scan banks that you can't get a reliable feed from some of those very long tail banks, and AI smarts to get that bank data faster into Xero. But Jax really, I think, is going to change the way that you interact with accounting software. So it becomes more conversational. It's using those large language models, whether it's, who owes me money? Can you send the person, chase that person's invoice they haven't paid me? Or, hey, I want to update this quote and can you reissue it? And there's just so much. I mean, we're just getting started there. There's so much opportunity when we think about Jax and how you interact with our support, how you interact with the product, both for accountants and bookkeepers and small business. So one of the things I'm super excited about as an accountant bookkeeper, or as a former one, is a lot of the AI you're seeing has been for insights, and we've launched a lot of things here as well. There is this tremendous opportunity in front of us now to go, well, most small business data in the US or Canada is after the fact, it's old, or it's not categorized, therefore the insights aren't meaningful. So we're really starting to think about how do you use AI to really streamline getting onto the cloud, but also streamlining categorizing the data, cleaning the data so that you can get out to the other end of it. So really good stuff on the innovation. Xerocon was also always just a great event to bring the community together across North America. It does feel like a big family. So those were the big, lots of product. We announced a Gusto embedded partnership, which is, we already had a strategic partnership with Gusto, but now embedding that, their white label solution, which is going to be a much more seamless experience for our partners. We launched the partnership with Bill.com, which will see us embed the Bill.com functionality. So a lot of stuff came out, which has been awesome. And big focus for us as accountants and bookkeepers that are really leading the way with CAS, Client Advisory Service. That's been a big focus for us. We had road shows. We took the team on the road across North America, which was exciting as well. So it's been a big.
When was that?
Yeah. In the fall, so across October and November, we were across certain cities in the US and Canada to get in touch with our customers. So the big one for me is probably in product momentum. And as I said, we're just getting started. So it feels like there's a real sense of, Xero, we're in the game in the US. We're seeing accountants that really see the need to do CAS services. They see the opportunity. There's other threats they're dealing with. There's challenges around labor shortages, getting through the compliance work to get to this stuff. But the opportunity, I think, is really understood. And we're really taking pride in helping firms go on that journey.
Yeah, and that's being noticed. I don't know the details behind this, but you guys were recognized by Fortune magazine, right? It was Fortune Future 50 somewhat recently. That was in the past month or so, right?
Yeah, it was an awesome holiday present coming into the break. So Fortune does a Future 50 list. I think the exciting thing about the list is it's not something you apply for. They build the list themselves based on their own back-end research, and they're looking for companies that are displaying resilience, displaying innovation. They've got good financial health metrics. And are delivering on customers and looking at the opportunity ahead. So it was super awesome to be recognized in that list of 50, alongside some pretty big names. So I think it was a massive win for our teams. Xeros across the world have been working super hard. So having that recognition, I think, was a real boost for our teams coming into the break.
Yeah. Well, congratulations on that. So it's good to be recognized, right?
Yeah.
It's very, very helpful to be recognized as well by somebody like a Fortune. So your role now is, so you were North America and kind of in green room when we were speaking. You had involvement in Canada prior to being North America or US focused. Now you're kind of back to Canada, if you will, or with both markets. What's differences and similarities from Xero's perspective in working in these two countries?
Yeah, it's super interesting. So first up, it's really exciting. I mean, I was involved in getting the market kicked off up there, so I know a lot of the partners and up there and know the market well. So it's really excited to be back working with our teams and our partners on the ground up there. It's super interesting. There's a lot of stuff that's the same. I think the high level themes around the accounting profession are identical. Labor shortages, the compliance burden, building on advisory. How do I deal with the rapid rate of technology change? All of those things are happening. But there are uniquenesses, quite a lot of differences between both markets. Big one is obviously, small businesses in Canada have to prepare a set of financial statements alongside their tax return. So that drives a lot sort of higher usage of accounting and a deeper relationship with the accountants and bookkeepers. Whereas in the US, you can sort of get away with cash-based accounting until you're up in the 10 million plus. I think it's 25 million last time I checked. And so the businesses that do it here do it out of need or do it out of, hey, to have the right level of financial literacy and acumen, I need to
Hmm.
get proper accounting software and have my advisor connected. So there's a lot more push regulatory wise up there. Canada's probably one of when it comes to adoption of the GL of accounting, has been one of the slower markets to adopt accounting software in the cloud. When you think about desktop to cloud migration. Um, but equally, Xero operates in other Commonwealth markets around the world. So there's a lot of similarities there. We see things like GST, how they do sales tax. The different accounting standards and frameworks have probably got more similarities across the Commonwealth and between the US accounting frameworks and Canada.
Okay.
And then from a banking perspective, there's sort of five major banks, but open banking is still a while away, and so yeah, it is a tougher market to get quality bank data into Xero, and so we were really excited during the year to partner with Flinks, who's a uh, company based out of Montreal that are really disrupting the aggregator space for both getting data off banks into other vendors, but also getting direct feeds with banks. So that's really helped us. Big focus up these bank feeds. Equally in the US, bank feeds are also a big challenge, but it's a bit different here. You've got thousands and thousands of banks, and that was another big highlight for me from a product perspective was going from 20 direct feeds to over 700, and we can
Oh,
see a
wow.
pathway to hundreds more in the short term. We added an additional aggregator and Flinks, and so we're looking at different ways to just get the biggest spread of banks in, and then launching bank statement extraction for those banks that don't provide anyone with a good feed so that customers can get that bank data into the software. So yeah, a lot of similarities, and there's also a lot of unique challenges as well.
Right. Has your physical footprint changed at all? Have you added offices? I think maybe 6 months ago. I know. I mean, obviously you're in Denver, still in Denver, right? And then got the Atlanta office. What's the physical footprint of Xero in North America now?
Yeah, so we have people spread across the different places. So we have a very, we have boots on the street that are out supporting accountants and bookkeepers as they go through this journey. But from an office perspective, big one of our big hubs in North America is here in Denver. We have smaller hubs in New York. We've got a hub of people in Atlanta. Canada, we have our main sites in Toronto, but we also have people in Vancouver and an office in Calgary. We acquired TaxCycle. It was a couple of years back, which is one of the largest tax pro softwares in Canada.
Okay.
As we look to sort of complete that end-to-end workflow for write-up practices. And so there's a decent, both the Xero team there, including some of the folks that came across from TaxCycle. And then, of course, as you know, there was a big migration over the last few years of more executives from the global perspective in Xero landing in North America. So Sukhinder, the CEO, Dia Jolly, who's the Chief Product Officer, Ashley Hanson-Greg, CRO. So we have a lot more leadership from the global business sitting here now
Yeah.
in the US, and they're based in. We're excited to launch a new office in San Mateo, just up from the Bay Area this year as well. So I just came from there yesterday.
Oh, okay. And is that going to be where like senior management sits, or are they like in New York where the money is, or where are they sitting?
Yeah, it's pretty dispersed. So you do have a concentration of global leadership in San Mateo. We also have global
Mhm.
leaders around the world. I think what you saw was, we used to have quite a concentration in the Southern Hemisphere. And as the business, it's interesting as you've watched the business's growth, obviously it was founded originally in New Zealand. And then as it got bigger in Australia, we saw more of the migration of executive talent there. And then obviously, big focus on the North American and Northern Hemisphere markets. So you're seeing more of a balancing of talent landing up here as well. So.
Right. Okay. I don't think I realized that you were with Xero back in Canada prior. Was that like back to the Jamie Sutherland days?
No,
That
after so
far
I
back?
came up, I've been with Xero 12 years, which feels like 30
Okay.
in a really good way.
Right. Yeah.
With lucky enough to lead growth in the early phase in the New Zealand market from sort of the
Okay.
early adopters through to scale. And then 8 years ago, jumped up to Denver, Colorado. And,
Hmm.
at that point, we didn't have anyone on the ground in Canada. And we could see a lot of customer growth happening up there and a lot of demand for Xero to be there. So we launched our first office out of Toronto under my role at the time in that market. And so we grew the first piece of the market. And then as each country started to grow, we split them. And then as we moved into our new strategy, it made more sense to bring them back together.
Yeah.
So yeah, so very excited to be back working with our Canadian partners and team.
Yeah. Anything that you can share that's on the horizon for 2025?
Yeah, and there's lots of stuff coming in. Again, what you're going to see is a similar theme emerging, right? So,
Yeah.
um, yeah, I think our strategy gives us a good insight around where we're focusing, and you're under the 3x3 core bookkeeping is the critical thing. So you're going to see, more improvements coming to core bookkeeping. That is the foundational core of the business. I think you're going to see more better together partnerships emerging as we look to bring best of breed partners
Mhm.
that bring those app stacks for whether you're running a CAS platform or a specific industry vertical niche. And so lots of work to go, and we're continuing to work on building more into the product from the basic stuff. But I think what's more exciting is, AI is everywhere, and AI is, we're all in on that. But for our perspective, being all in on AI for accountants and bookkeepers. And for me, that is, how do we help you run a systemized CAS practice? We're very comfortable as accountants with the systems we have around our tax businesses. How do we bring that same level of rigor to our CAS practices? And I see that creating two really big opportunities. One is you can grow CAS faster. It's going to enable our firms to compete better, whether they're competing with other vendors or whatever for the CAS services. But also, as you make a more systemized CAS practice, you can bring that service to more small businesses, particularly smaller ones than you can currently serve. That's a revenue opportunity for our partners, but equally, I think that's a massive opportunity for when you think about the macro impact on the small business economy. So, there's been a lot of momentum with AI in our space, and all the
Mhm.
tools that accountants and bookkeepers are using. They're probably feeling like they've been drinking out of the fire hose. I'm excited to see some, really better next year become more mainstream. And I think there's just still so much opportunity to go faster around how we improve the workflows. Because at the end of the day, if you want to get insights, you need to get the data clean and categorized. And I think there's a
Mhm.
massive opportunity to go faster with AI in that space as well.
So are you seeing what are you seeing adoption wise? Is it like, 2% of the users are all in with AI and everybody else is kind of scratching their head going, I know I need to do it, but I'm gonna go do this instead.
Yeah, it's interesting. I think, one of my favorite books with technology is Marketing Across the Chasm. It talks about the stages of adoptions across the bell curve. It very much is in the innovator phase. So the innovator firms are jumping in. There's influencers out there like Jason Statz, Chad Davis, who are using it across all the different parts of their practices, and I highly
Yeah.
encourage partners to follow those folks from Blake Oliver, because they are using it not as a buzz. They're using it across key areas of practice, can see the impact, and I think are really useful North Stars for firms that are considering it, to think about how you bring it in, not as a buzzy feature. Because if you look at the mass market, it still hasn't been widely adopted yet by the mass market. You've got the innovators that are getting there, that left end of the bell curve are getting in and getting their teeth sunk in. I think the exciting thing for them is it gives you that first mover advantage.
Right.
Equally, as we work with those firms, we're getting such rich insight around where we can apply the AI horsepower to.
And is Xero teaching a lot? Are you doing, I'm sure it was part of Xerocon. I don't remember how many sessions there were, but because we certainly hear it talked about a lot. Are you
Yeah.
guys having like, hey, here's the top three things you need to be doing in AI now, right?
Yeah, I think we see education's a big focus for us. And yeah, it's interesting whenever there's a new thing out that's innovating, I think often, and I know the partners are feeling it too, right? Whether whatever conference you go to, whatever vendor you're hearing from, everyone's got a big, bold AI story, and it can be quite scary for people that are looking to adopt. So I think where we're trying to focus is, how do you demystify AI? How do you really help people understand what it is? Because that
Mhm.
helps deal with the fear of adoption, and actually starting to move more into the, like, what does it actually mean, and how can you actually meaningfully bring it into your practice? But equally, how do you make sure your customers that you're supporting are leveraging it well? And so I think that's where our big focus is. We can do a lot more here as well, and it's a big focus of ours, because I think it's sort of, there still is people around like, is AI going to kill the accounting profession? My personal belief is no. I think it's a massive opportunity for the accounting profession,
Mhm.
because we've got to get, we've still got the compliance work is still there. We still need to get through that faster. We still need to get more clients to getting more real-time data so that we can have these advisory conversations. And we're going to need AI to do that. So for me, it's AI plus the human is the magic combination. And so I think firms that embrace it versus hold it out, stand to get that first mover advantage.
Yeah, I would agree with that as well, because as a small business owner, and that's what I'm looking for my accountant, right? I don't care how you get the information. I don't care how it's compiled, as long as you, as my trusted advisor, are, signing off on that it is correct and it is compiled correctly. I'm going to listen to what you tell me, because, my business is media. My business isn't accounting.
Yeah,
And so, small business owners, we need that, somebody in our ear. And if you could spend, it doesn't matter to me if you spend 2 minutes or 2 days bringing that data together, as long as you bring it together and can present it to me, it's valuable, right?
totally.
And if you can do it in 2 minutes versus 2 days, it's going to be a lot more valuable for your practice too.
Yeah, and I think that's where it's interesting because when you look at the role of the accountant or the bookkeeper, many have seen that, right? Like we have this, like, who does a small business go to for help? Who do
Mhm.
they get support from this stuff? Like, how do they navigate the technology landscape? And I think a lot of the sort of the front end of firms that are doing this well realize, hey, we're probably best positioned to help give that advice, to help them navigate that. There's a lot of firms that are still standing back going, is that me? They haven't asked for it. And my challenge,
Right.
they're probably not going to ask for it because you don't know what you don't know. And so it's a great way to have your practice stand out when you're out there, using the cloud to get that connection with the client,
Yeah.
and then getting that regular engagement with them, which is great for your tax practice at the end of the year because regular engagement means you're keeping an eye on a mess not emerging that turns up at the end of the year, doing the work with them throughout the year. But that regular engagement allows you to actually have that relationship where you can educate them, you can help navigate technology. And I think my challenge to the profession is don't expect the customers to ask for it.
Right.
They are struggling with busy day jobs, looking after their customers. They're looking for help, and you've just got to go out, look for the signs, and go out and be that person that can help them.
Yeah. And put on that CFO cap, right? Where you are in tune with their business, just like if you're sitting in their office with them. And granted, we wouldn't expect, as a small business owner, I wouldn't expect you to be calling me every day going, hey, this
Yeah,
number's a little off. You need to tweak that. But I would expect you to call me on occasion going, hey, I just noticed. Um, that's how you become my advisor. That's how you become indispensable, irreplaceable to me as a small business advisor. And the
yeah, and
tools are there. You just got to learn how to use them.
it is, and it's right. I mean, one of the ones that really excited me when I launched was the client advisory dashboard that we launched, which was we want to show you what your clients are up to. We want to show you if their data, for clients that are doing the work offsite, is their data clean, which is a signal to the firm to go, hey, maybe I reach out and offer to help them clean their data up, or offer to help. Do you want us to do your bank reconciliation if that's not what you're passionate about? And then that advisory dashboard then moves through to show you what your clients are doing. It gives you key financial health metrics of the business. And so if you're sitting there looking at your massive client list, you can actually see which ones there might be a decent advisory conversation.
Right.
I know a lot of the profession is nervous or scared to sell. It's like I feel like I'm selling to my client, but one thing I know all the profession is very passionate about and good at is helping people and helping small business. And it's not selling when you are ringing up going, "Hey, we've seen this insight and we have some tools and tips to help.
Yeah.
Love to play a part." And I think that's what small business needs.
Yeah. And it's opportunity for both sides, in my opinion. So I'm going to bounce back to, what were the three parts of the 3x3?
Core bookkeeping,
Yeah.
payments, payroll. Um, so when you think about the partnership we announced with Bill.com,
Yeah.
this is a 3x3 market. So Bill.com for the US under the payments bucket. So it really, when you think about focus as we grow the business, it really helps give focus across what we build, what we may look to go and acquire, or where smart partnerships make sense. So we apply that sort of build by partner mentality across each of the key segments.
Okay, great. I had core bookkeeping written down, but not the other two, but I like that. So, all right. So we talked about 2024, talked about updates and what's on the horizon, talked about future forward, um, recent integrations. And my big question everybody wants to know, is there a Xerocon 2025 in the US on the horizon? I can't remember. I don't think one was announced, was it?
Yeah, so at this moment, so what we're doing with our Xerocons is we used to run them in every key region every year,
Yeah.
which was a massive lift. And what we've shifted to now is sort of rotating them. So we sort of have a rotating cycle. We go from London, then we came to
Yep.
Nashville. The next one next year is going to be in Brisbane, and we have lots of partners that are going down to Brisbane, and then we'll have it in the US and the cycle after that. But it's probably likely going to be 2026. So we're sort of
Okay.
rolling thunder. But we will be one of the things we will be looking at next year is going deeper with our roadshows. So if there's a year where there's not a Xerocon, what we generally do is go, how do we go more local? So we'll be running 1 day, 2 day events in key cities across the nation where people can come and hear the product updates, engage with
Yep.
our teams, engage with each other because the community likes to share. So we'll be on the road to lots of stops next year.
Okay. And I'm sure that'll be published, and we'll pick that up and push that out as that information is available. Well, I think that's all the things I had on my list. Did we miss anything, or did you have anything else
No, I think we covered a lot.
that
Just
we need
yeah,
to
just
reshare?
echoing. Thank you for the engagement. It's been great catching up throughout the year and sharing our momentum. And just a massive thank you to our accountants and bookkeepers, our what are at the core of Xero, because we believe they're just the key partner that help us together with our technology do more for small business. And we just want to wish all our customers and partners a happy holidays and hope they get a chance to recharge a bit before the looming tax season arrives. But just thank everyone for their support. We are obviously super excited about the progress that we've got here in North America, and thankful to our customers for the support.
Great. Well, we're certainly glad to be a part of it, and look forward to a great 2025. Have a wonderful holiday. And I know you're heading back home for a little bit, you said, so have safe travels
We'll do,
there
yeah,
as
going to the
well.
mountains for the holiday break to get a bit of skiing in, and then yeah, we'll shoot down to the Southern Hemisphere to catch up with some people as well. So
Great. All right. Well, safe travels, and we'll talk to you soon. Thanks,
thanks.
Ben. All righty. Bye-bye.
Bye.